Well, I've tried to build a channel being as bluntly honest as I can be, and there were two moments, and I can't even specify them for you guys, dealing with Aaron because some victims might get hurt. So I can't even hint at what it is because their identities might get out there. Their identities are out there, and technically these are public figures. One of them is definitely a public figure, but I'm trying to be as careful as possible with information. And that's the Aaron Smith Levin cult. If you get involved, you're gonna start getting your hands dirty real quick with deception, fraud, and a lot worse things. And I got lucky. I never got really too deep into the Aaron cult. The worst it got is me being in the chat and acting like an idiot, praising Aaron. But I got my hands dirty anyway, and that's just the nature of the beast. But this one is about Knife Hoarder, FTG, Goot, Marilyn, and SPTV Foundation. Because I was honestly confused. So let me just go back to the theme of blunt honesty. I was just confused. So Knife Hoarder put out a video yesterday, and I was like so confused. I'm like, what are you talking about? What is this about? I was head scratching. But I was in agreement, especially towards the end, about the ultra woke, because I definitely think some of the ultra woke people have gone way, way too far, and it's gone way too extreme on too many issues, from the trans, the gay, whatever. And I'm just like, I myself generally am receptive to the liberal left side and the woke, but some stuff has gone way too far. But I was beyond confused. I'm like, what is this about? And then it's like, oh, I saw the SPTV video, the SPTV channel video, and I'm like, oh, okay, okay. And to be fair, both sides were very biased. Knife Hoarder put out a biased video, and the SPTV Foundation video was also very biased. But there was another video that I looked at, and it is Knife Hoarder, clearly him, and he said two things that were pretty alarming. And again, I can't even go into the other thing because I'm actually working on something, and this has nothing to do with Knife Hoarder. It's a very similar situation with Aaron and one of his former friends. And I don't want to say former, they're still friendly. And one of the friends could be an extremist. And there's more and more evidence he is an extremist. So I want to try to be as consistent as I can on this channel. Now, being a YouTuber, that's just not possible. You're going to get compromised too many times. But I think I've tried to be as consistent as possible and succeeded for the most part. But there have been a few moments I've had to be deceptive to protect people, and it just makes me uncomfortable. If I got to do it, I got to do it, but I don't want to do it without a good reason. And I'm also not, I don't want to say super brave, but I'm not a coward. And this is not really about Marilyn, but it is about Marilyn. So Marilyn has decided, out of her brilliant mind, to now just join the fight. This is a woman for years. Aaron was promoting Scoville. Let me make this very crystal clear. Aaron was promoting Scoville. Marilyn was there. Marilyn's been a moderator on Aaron's channel. Marilyn had no issue with this until recently. Like, the closest I can find she raised an alarm was last year when Marissa and Scoville temporarily broke up. Then she got all excited. And that Reese was in danger. And she was like, oh, Reese, you're in danger. But now Reese is the devil. So she's not consistent even with her alarm over Scoville. But anyway, another day, another dollar. And this is nothing new. Like, I've exposed Marilyn, Mexican long hair, Ellie. There's a lot of people that expose Marilyn, so we're not saying anything new here. And I want to be very clear that I don't think yet Knife Hoarder, Good, FTG, and I guess we want to call it whatever you want to call it, the collective movement against Scoville and Marissa is a hate group. I don't think it's that yet. But, and again, being bluntly honest, I wanted to do this a week ago because there were just a few of the commentaries and a few of the things that were just making me uncomfortable. It seemed like they were going over the line. And it's the usual dilemma that right? Fight fire with fire, right? How much can you do that without starting to becoming what you hate? So I think that dilemma is there. I think it's real. It's been happening for a couple weeks now. I've spoken out about a few things. Like, for instance, it's not just Marilyn. There's this other woman. I'm not going to say who the woman is. And I'm not going to dictate what channels can and cannot do. I don't do those things. But it's just very alarming that certain people, like these two women, but there are more cases, and it's just becoming that thing where who cares? We don't need pure, clean hands to denounce Scoville or Marissa. I agree, we don't need pure, clean hands, but why are we getting our hands dirty without necessity? That's what I'm having an issue with. People are just getting their hands dirty, and they're smiling and laughing and like, hey, boys, it's a gold mine. It's now time to hate Marissa's. To me, that speaks that you're a bully and a coward. And again, I'm not talking about Knife Hoarder or Goot or some of the people who are more long term. They were exposing things for the right reason. However, it's getting more and more. We're on the road, as they say. We're on the road, or at least a lot of people are on the road to turning it into an echo chamber. And I don't see the necessity. So I'm still going to do videos being very critical and calling out Marissa and Scoville, but I don't see the necessity of joining a hate group. I really don't. Now, in terms of the Knife Hoarder controversy proper, again, being blunt, he seemed to have three arguments. The third argument was valid, and I think that's fine. I know some people do love the ultra woke. They love everything woke. They like black, Chinese, lesbians everywhere. Like everything black, Chinese, beautiful, gay, trans, everywhere, rainbows everywhere. It's just, I think those people are delusional. But okay, that's their thing, not me. And sometimes they try to coerce people. I don't think that's a good idea. That's them. So that's a valid argument. But being blunt, the first two arguments were flatly invalid. In fact, they were Scoville arguments. One argument was outright, oh, well, that happened in the past, so who cares? Okay, fine. I mean, if that's your argument with Knife Hoarder, that will be an argument with Scoville too. So don't bring up his past. That's what his fans say, saying, well, I don't really care about that. Okay, but what about current things? Well, I don't really care about that either. That was months ago. Okay, and listen, that's a great magical card. And I could be cynical and play the same card, right? It's like, well, I don't really bring up the thing with Knife Hoarder, so I don't need to bring this up with Marilyn either. And that's, I'm sure, Marilyn's entry point, saying, I don't want to talk about my past. I don't talk about Knife Hoarder past. And there we go. It's magic cards for everyone. So there we go. But again, in other Knife Hoarder videos, he doesn't do that. The reasoning is pretty strong, and the receipts are pretty strong. But here, it's a lot of like appeal to emotion. And to be fair, the SPTV channel video was also a little, because again, that's YouTube censorship. Because people were like, "What exactly is the big deal? I mean, what are these tattoos? I mean, I don't understand it." Well, again, the tattoos themselves have to be censored because they're just way too sensitive. So we're kind of going around in a circle that we can't even say what the thing is about because the thing is so controversial. And again, I'm not a wallflower. If people want to use rough language, listen, I listen to very, what do you want to call it, R-rated humor all the time, like Eddie Murphy, Louis C.K., Bill Burr, George Carlin, the great George Carlin, who passed away years ago. So I'm not against using rough language when you have to. But if you are going to use it gratuitously or to get out of a hairy situation, just protect yourself, we kind of know what you're doing. I'm not saying Knife Hoarder is doing that, but I'm seeing a pattern here of a certain section of whatever we're going to call it, the anti-Marissa, the anti-Brett community that is engaging in team sports. Namely, if you're on our side, you get immunity. If you're not on our side, you don't get any immunities. And that's getting dangerously close to the Aaron cult all over again. So I don't want to get into the swamp with those people. And so far, they're not giving any receipts. So it's not about Ecoplex. It's not about Marilyn, and it's not about Marissa. It's about me. And I've already got my hands dirty too much with Aaron. So I don't want to get any more dirt on me if possible. So I will still look at the knife hoarder stuff. I'll still look at the boot stuff. Where it's valid and good, I'm going to still support it. However, I try to be very clear with my biases. So with this channel, it is from a quote left perspective, but I'm not dogmatic. There are many things on the left I don't like. Many things on the left I would never agree with. But generally, the orientation is on the left. But I do take some conservative positions, even quote reactionary positions. And I've done a few videos, and I'll probably do a few more videos that are friendly to Ethan Van Sciver. And if you know him, he's a very controversial comic book artist. He is very wildly pro-Trump. He is very pro-Trump. But nevertheless, I do think there's a core of integrity to Comicsgate. But it's the same thing. They get themselves involved in a lot of political controversies I don't want to get involved in. But there's a part of Comicsgate where it's like, no, you just do your comic. You try to promote the comic, you sell your comic, you create your thing, and there you go. That's its own thing. So I'm glad that Ethan allows that space where people just put out their comic, and if you want to handle the political headache, you can do that, but that's an option. I don't think it's becoming an option anymore because Marilyn and other people are making it very dirty. And if you, quote, have to hate Marissa and have to hate Scoville, she's now becoming one of the gatekeepers. And she doesn't deserve it. She doesn't have the moral authority. It's becoming a mess. So I think there's still like people of goodwill who hate Marissa, who hate Scoville for the right reason. And there we go. But I can't deny the obvious. Part of the knife hoarder community is just there to hate. And that's all they're there for. They don't care if the hate is with good reason or hate with bad reason. They don't care. They just want hate incorporated. And that's not what I got into it for. And those guys run the channel the way they do. I'm going to run the channel the way I do. All I can say is the presentation on both sides was very biased, and they're not telling the whole truth. That's all I'm going to say for now. And it is what it is. And again, this is not Knife Hoarder's problem. This is my problem. But I'm going to do something on Aaron and expose something on him. And it would just be inconsistent if I'm going to be critical of Aaron about this extremist if I'm not consistent and say, well, what about this? What about Knife Hoarder? What about this? I would agree that's inconsistent. And I think I could be called out for that inconsistency. So this is just a bigger problem that there are two things going on. It's not just Maryland. There's a thing with Aaron and a certain friend or ally who's an extremist. And I don't want to try to protect that guy. He's still pulling the same tricks. So I'm kind of stuck, and that's where I am. But the information will come out. It's already out there, and it will get spread more widely. So can't hold it back. So even if I wanted to do a cover up, it's long gone. The cat's out of the bag, guys. And so there's just a lot more going on than people realize. And I will let people know soon. And that's all I can say for now.